Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's KGibbs F1 here, and welcome to a not so sunny Silverstone today. FormulaXbox is back in Britain for the British Grand Prix, and I'm going to try and avoid a British weather cliche if I can, but if you've ever seen my commentaries before, or heard my commentaries before I should say, then you'll know that is highly unlikely. But ultimately it should be a fascinating race here. We've got one of the best circuits on the planet. You've got corners like Copse leading onto Maggots, leading onto Beckett's, leading onto Stowe in what is one of the best sections of racetrack on the planet, and should test drivers. We'll test them in dry conditions and will most certainly prove very challenging indeed, as the rain is now falling and has added a little extra element of spice to what was already going to be a pretty hectic race, I'm sure. Now, it was a dry qualifying session, and Azar was qualifying king once again in his Ferrari, the championship leader, putting in a 1:30.060, untouchable for pole position, but only just. He had Sinan, who was only 0.04 of a second back in his Red Bull, so the German will be hoping to go well from there. It could be a very close battle between those two based on their qualifying pace, but of course we don't know how they'll fare in wet conditions. Shout for Melanie as well in McLaren, just two tenths back from Azar on pole position. Mel, of course, taking out the victory last time in Austria in what was only his third race and his second victory in his three races so far. So he'll be hoping to go well from third. And a quick shout as well, as you can see him on your screens now, Sam in P4, very, very good qualifying for him. And you never know, on a day like today, it could be his day to perform a strategic masterclass. As we cross over to the grid now, and on board with none other than the Toro Rosso of the Mighty Midget, we have 3, 4 and 5 red lights here at Silverstone. It's lights out and away we go at the British Grand Prix. Azar gets a fairly decent start, so does Sinan. In fact, it's status quo for the front five as they all head towards Abbey in turn 1. It looks like Azar's got the job done on Sinan. Melanie goes wide. Sam and Mighty Midget do not need a second invitation on that one. They gobble up P3 and 4. And now the Mighty Midget fancies the outside line on Sam through Village. It's going to be the inside for the loop, and that is almost job done, is it, for the Mighty Midget? Sam could get better traction, but no, the Toro Rosso man has made the move stick as they head through Aintree. It's Azar, followed by Sinan, followed by the Mighty Midget, and then Sam. But Sam in that Ferrari does not want to take this line down. He cuts to the inside, heading towards Brooklands, and with a great toe. But the Mighty Midget later on the brakes. It's so difficult in these conditions to know how late you can be on the anchors, and Mighty Midget just a little bit more daring than Sam was on that occasion. It is of course only lap 1, remember, so it's not really worth having a lunge at this point. It's in one of those races that you'd imagine will be a bit of a race of attrition, so clever driving there from Sam, sitting in P4 at the moment, and I no doubt he'll take that after starting in P4. Now as we look a little bit further back now to Drastic Midget and his Williams, he started from P13, made up a position on KnorTheDragon straight off the bat and went very wide through turn 1, and we see there contact, I think, between Casey Legend and Vapid Coot. Casey there getting all out of shape through Aintree, or through Abbey I should say, and was sent spearing into Vapid, who I think was a bit of a passenger there, just collected up in somebody else's incident. We see Drastic Midget doesn't mind, he's up to P9 and P13, so a solid start for him into the point scoring places already. And up ahead you just saw there Jewish Lewis and Liam having a bit of a scrap. But on board now with KGibbs GP. Where was he in all of this? Of course, you've got the slow starting Nor to your left there, who Drastic Midget overtook early doors. And, well, early doors, KGibbs GP in big trouble here. He's dead last as they head through turn 1 after hitting the back of Vapid. And, well, he just got in too hot. I mean, it's a classic case, as I mentioned earlier, grip at a premium. And KGibbs just overestimated the amount of speed he could take into turn 1. And Drastic Devil at his aggressive best. He's going to see a great view of KGibbs having a moment and leaning up against a Sauber. Nearly did a Casey there, dropping it on the exit of the corner. He was so close to Feely on the exit of turn 1, heading through Farm. So that was just stunningly close racing there. Drastic Devil pushing his luck a little bit, but he's at least up into P13 with, well, a Toro Rosso, a Jaxter, trying an audacious move around the outside of the loop. But Drastic Devil, you'd imagine, will have that covered through Aintree. But they're going side by side now, and Jaxter is going to have the toe from the Sauber. It's going to be 3 wide heading to the Brooklands. This is not going to end well if they try and be too ambitious into here. Drastic Devil nearly hitting the back of the Force India, KGibbs GP style, but ultimately gets away with it. And EIusiveKev and Jaxter continue their little brawl through Luffield. EIusiveKev getting it all out of shape though on the apex, and well, settling in behind the Force India by the looks of things. And as we see, checking with the battle for third, fourth and fifth. Once again, Sam going a little wide there. That's going to give Melanie a great run out of the Copse corner. Heading side by side towards Maggots and Beckett's is hard enough in the dry, let alone in the wet, but Melanie has the job done as they head into Beckett's now, as that is the McLaren man back up into P4, and he's only one place away from recovering those 2 places that he lost off the line. Of course, Sam getting it all crossed up as they head it through Chapel there, and we go back on board with Kay Gibbs, who has Perez behind him now, who's had an even bigger drama than what Kay Gibbs had into turn 1, and well, that's not how to do side by side through Maggots and Beckett's. We saw just a moment ago Melanie and Sam doing it expertly through those corners, and well, Kay Gibbs and Perez just not performing quite the same feat there, as we see Liam and Drastic Midget now going side by side heading towards Stowe. We've seen a lot of side by side action in these opening stages. Drivers clearly not want to settle for the positions they're in, and probably recognising that these early laps are their best opportunities to make up some places. And as Liam lags back there, really tricky scenario for Drastic Midget to read, and just doesn't know probably where that Haas is going to be on the road. But gets the cutback anyway as they head through Club, and with this tighter line through Club corner and the exit to run the Haas out of the road, I was about to say he should get the job done. I think he has, and yes he has, but he made a bit more of a meal of it than I thought he would. Liam's going to get a great run through Abbey now, and around the outside of Farm. That's brilliant, brave stuff from Liam there. One false move from Drastic Midget, and that was going to be a Williams sprawled all over the Haas side pod, and Liam getting it all out of shape through Village. This battle is not done yet. Drastic Midget holding it out around the outside of the loop, but cannot hold that line and make a move there. So Liam is managing to hang on to P8 somehow. This has been a battle that's been going on for half a lap now, and Drastic Midget curiously not getting in the toe of the Haas, and well, I thought that was going to prove pivotal there and give Feely a chance to come at the Williams, but to no avail on this occasion. On board now with the Renault of Jewish Lewis. Little bit of contact with Kung Fu Kenny Jack, of course our winner back in Baku, and the two of them go side by side here as they head towards Brooklyn. You'd imagine Jewish Lewis with the high ground heading into the corner will be able to get this job done, but no, Kung Fu Kenny Jack is hanging it out around the outside, finding some great grip on the outside of Brooklyn. He's going to have the inside for Luffield, but you'd imagine it's going to swap around again. Jewish Lewis might... Oh, and there's a bit of contact there. I think maybe a bit of lag, but Kung Fu Kenny Jack seemed to have a little oversteer moment as he headed through Luffield. So easily done in these conditions, and that just caught Jewish Lewis out, who was trying to hold as tight a line as possible. And well, that's a few places lost there for the Renault man, which he'll need to recover in the coming laps. And well, Feely and Drastic Midget getting very close together. Drastic Midget just about getting away with that without picking up any front wing damage, and he's going side by side briefly there with Jaxpar, of course, who have seen lagging so far, and unfortunately a bit of lag seems to be making these drivers' lives even harder than they would otherwise be. And well, Drastic Midget will not want to look in his mirrors for too much longer, because there's a big scrap going on behind him. And speaking of a big scrap, here goes the Mighty Midget for position 2 on Sinan, and the two of them are side by side through Stowe. Sinan holding a great line through Stowe there, managing to hang on to the position, found great grip on the outside. Once again, it seems to be a line that's working for so many drivers right now. And here comes the Mighty Midget. No, he cannot get the job done as they exited Vale. Sinan, wise to it, covers it off, and so it's status quo. Azar, as you can see, has cleared off up the road with what must be a 3-second lead now over Sinan. So it's Sinan P2, Mighty Midget still holding out P3, Melanie P4, and McLaren is hanging on to the back of these two as well. So this is going to be one titanic scrap, you'd imagine. These three have broken away from 5th place, so it is really 3 for 2nd at the moment, and Sinan is going to be feeling a whole heap of pressure. If driving in these conditions wasn't hard enough, driving in these conditions with two very fast race drivers behind you is even harder, as Mighty Midget gets out of shape through Aintree, and that has given Sinan a bit of respite, and that has given Melanie a chance to have a go at the Toro Rosso round the outside of Brooklands. We've seen this line work for drivers so far in this race, Kung Fu Kenny Jack most notably, and it seems to have worked for Melanie on this occasion. The Mighty Midget going as aggressively as he can towards that apex, pinching Melanie, but Melanie seems to have the job done in the McLaren, and that is back up into the podium places for Mel. So he lost out at the start, but has now made those positions up once again, and it's only taken him 4 laps. So a very, very solid effort from him indeed. As we go back on board now with Drastic Midget in the thick of all of the action so far, and we see now Jaxpar trying it out around the outside of Vale. He's got the inside for the first part of Club, and Drastic Midget is surely going to have no answer now with the superior traction of that Force India, and that is the move done. But here we go, the Williams is going to try it up the inside of Abbey. Is he? Surely not. That's going to be bold, but he seems to have made it work somehow. Oh, but he's got a bit of oversteer on the exit, and that is Drastic Midget heading towards the grass and rally crossing it, and in these conditions that grass is even more treacherous than it would usually be. So Drastic Midget is wise to get off of that ASAP, and ultimately a move that seemed to have gained him one position has now lost him another couple, and we're going to see it now from Drastic Devil's perspective, who would have had box seats for this particular scrap. So you see Jaxter seemed to have the job done there, and you saw him pop out of club ahead of the Williams, but just seemed to get up on the curb a little bit too high, and that just really compromised his exit. Drastic Midget with great traction off of the corner, Jaxter with the outside line through Abbey, which is never going to work, but Drastic Midget just getting it all crossed up on the exit, and well, and Jaxter did as well by the looks of things. Maybe a puddle that caught the two of them out there, and Drastic Devil himself, as we saw on board there, nearly had a moment. So tricky scenes here, and the drivers really seem to be still trying to feel their way around this track and find where the grip is on lap 4, as we see Melanie making a move on Sinan, gets the job done. That's second place, and through Abbey as well, no less. So a very, very accomplished move there from Mel, and it looks like the Toro Rosso is going to have a go on the Red Bull. It's the Mighty Midget doing what he did to Sam on lap 1, and now he's done exactly the same thing to Sinan. So the Mighty Midget moves himself up to P3, and it looks like someone else has joined this scrap as well. It's probably Sam and the Ferrari behind these guys, and it is indeed, and as you can see, Sinan's pace, for whatever reason, has just dropped off. Melanie and Mighty Midget clearing off up the road at the moment and towing each other along very nicely indeed. Sinan in P4 now under mega pressure from Sam, and the pressure seems to be telling as he gets it all crossed up out of Chapel. Sam says thank you very much, that'll be P4, and the question now is whether the Ferrari can go with the other two and try and put on a show for second place and make it another three-way scrap, as we go back on board with the Drastic brothers battling out once again over P9 and P10. Drastic Devil, of course, looking to hang on to a position that he gained when Drastic Midget went off the road just a couple of laps previous. And Kung Fu Kenny Jack seems to have had a couple of dramas himself, now down in P8, and all out of shape through club. And Drastic Devil is going to have a sniff of a move now up the inside as they head towards Abbey. We're going to see another overtake through turn 1, are we? No, because Kung Fu Kenny Jack has got some great grip on the outside there. Drastic Devil, though, is going to have the inside as they head through Village and gets it all out of shape, and I think caught the manner there and wiped Kung Fu Kenny Jack straight out of the action on there. We're going to get a better view of it now from Drastic Midget's perspective. It just looked like Drastic Devil got caught out through farm, as so many drivers have been so far, and yes, gets caught out, hits the manor, and well, I'm sure Jack will not be best pleased with that. The Drastic Devil lives to fight another day at least, and is in P8 now. Drastic Midget gaining out of that as well, and EIusiveKev no less gaining out of that as well, sitting currently provisionally on for a point. And we see a virtual safety car deployed now, probably for that stricken manner. And well, on lap 7 of 26, it's too early to make a pit stop. You'd imagine if the radar is right, and we're going to see a rain-affected race for the duration of this kind of ferocity of rain as well. And to be fair, drivers will want to get to about lap 12 at least before they start thinking about a switch to another set of wet tyres. But ultimately, they're too far away at the moment to really make that strategy pay and make a stop under virtual safety car. Hence, I don't think anybody did. As we see EIusiveKev now making a move on Drastic Midget through Stowe. And Drastic Midget looking to have a little bit of a fight back on the Sauber as they head towards Vale. He's going to have the outside line, and we've seen that has not been the best line to take through this corner thus far, and Kev knows it, covers that move off and keeps the Williams behind him. So a good move there from EIusiveKev into Stowe, manages to hang on to it through Vale, and Kev having one of his best races of the season so far, sitting in what is now P6, as we do see drivers actually making a couple of pit stops on lap 12. The pit window has just about opened, and some people looking to take advantage of it, probably people bottled up in traffic that want to try and get a bit of clean air over the coming laps. I'm sure we'll see in a moment those guys who have pitted, but for now at least we're checking in. Yes, we do indeed. It's going to be Sam in P3 who makes an early move here. In fact, I'm wrong on that one. It was lap 14 that Sam was pitting, so Sam wasn't one of those that came in early. As you can see, Sinan and himself both pitting on lap 14. So it's all going to shake its way out anyway, and I don't expect there's going to be much of an undercut here given the conditions, but we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. We may even see an overcut, you never know. Stranger things have happened, as we see now. I think it was Jewish Lewis there in the wall just behind Drastic Devil. So Jewish Lewis is out of this one, I think. And Jurassic Devil, the sole remaining Renault in this race now, putting Worthy under all kinds of pressure as they headed through Maggots and Becketts, and Worthy really struggling, potentially with his tyres, potentially running a lighter fuel mix, but just had no traction out of Chapel. Of course, it almost looked like a DRS assisted overtake for Jurassic Devil, but of course no DRS in these conditions. You'd be a very, very brave man indeed to open that up. I think we're going to see now Jewish Lewis, and oh, it was a lag incident. Oh, that's a big accident for him as a result of the lag, and he's not out of this race, but his race is certainly compromised after that one, and so unfortunate. We saw in Austria as well Jewish Lewis having a little bit of a lag and causing a few issues, but it seems to have bitten him again in this one. As we see Casey Legend putting some manners on EIusiveKev there around the outside of Stowe. Very solid move from Casey indeed, trying to catch up to his teammate who's still romping away in the lead group out front. And Casey, of course, we saw him come to grief at turn 1, lap 1, and his recovery drive is going fairly well at the moment up in the P7. It'll be interesting to see how far he can get. As we see now Jurassic Devil, the next on Casey's list, as he's now going to try it around the outside of Copse. And Jurassic Devil, we know, an uncompromising racer, surely isn't going to let him go around the outside at Copse, and he's not giving this one up without a fight, as you'd expect. And Casey cannot get the job done there, unsurprisingly you have to say, but with Jurassic Devil seemingly lacking a bit of pace compared to the McLaren at the moment, you'd imagine Casey is going to have a run on him out of Chapel, and no, he doesn't on this occasion. We cut a few laps later, or a few corners later I should say, and Casey is still all over the diffuser of this Renault. And is he going to try and make a move through Cox once again? We saw it didn't work last time. Is he going to try the same thing again? Jurassic Devil is wise to it, stays to the inside just like he did before. We know it worked for him before. Is it going to work again? Casey's going to try it around the outside once more. Jurassic Devil is so aggressive, almost more aggressive than he was last time. Holding that position, he's defending very, very well, but they're side by side this time through Maggots and Becketts, and Casey is the bolder of the two. Keeps his foot in admirably there and gets the job done. Was sick and tired, I imagine, of staring at the back of that Renault, and was not about to yield going into Maggots and Becketts. Brave stuff from those two. As we see once again the battle out front, Mighty Midget and Sam over P2 and P3. Sinan a bit further behind now, 13 seconds off of this particular battle. And as we see Mighty Midget now drops a place, but he's got the inside at Stowe. Sam hanging out around the outside very, very well indeed, is still hanging on in there. Mighty Midget, we cut to him now, he's going to have the outside through Vale. He's doing what nobody's been able to do so far, which is hang it out around the outside of there, and is seemingly going to have the best line, the high ground through Club, but they're still side by side. They head through Club corner and onto the 26th lap of 26. This battle is going to go right to the wire. Sinan is out of it. He's going to finish P4 in this one, I'm sure, but it's going to be Sam and Mighty Midget to battle it out over P2. Azar is seemingly home and dry, I'd imagine, but we're going to have to wait for confirmation on that one. As we see Sam and Mighty Midget, we're going to not surely cut away from this battle just yet, and it's going to be hot enough as we see them both squirreling through Aintree, looking for grip on that 26. Of course, tyre wear is going to be playing a factor now. Who's held onto their tyres best here as they head in towards Brooklands? We see 48% wear on the left front for Mighty Midget. To be fair, that's not too bad at all. It'll be interesting to see what Sam's wear would be, but I don't think we're going to get those pictures, to be fair, unfortunately. But Sam is holding it out admirably at the moment. He's built up a little bit of a cushion over the Toro Rosso, and could that be enough? He's had great traction out of Luffield. Look at that, you can hardly make out the back of that Ferrari now. The sponsorship logo's on there, and Mighty Midget is going to need a mighty run through Maggots and Becketts if he's going to have a go down the hanger straight into Stowe. So through Maggots, he's had a great run. He has had just what he needed through there, and he's going to have to make sure he nails the exit out of Chapel if he's going to perform what is a lunge down the inside at either Stowe or Vale. So as we head into the final few corners of this race, Sam has got great traction though off of Chapel. It's not going to happen into Stowe for the Mighty Midget. He's got to somehow try and pull off this manoeuvre as they head now down the hill towards Vale. Who is going to pull this off? Who's going to come second in this race? Sam has got the inside line covered. No dive bomb opportunities there for Mighty Midget. It's Melanie, in fact, who takes the victory. Azar's clearly had a drama somewhere, and Melanie has won from P3 on the grid, and Sam has come second with Mighty Midget third after that very, very exciting final lap. Azar clearly had a bad day somewhere. We didn't see any pictures of it, I don't think, but ultimately a very, very disappointing afternoon for him. A retirement, I'm hearing, as well for Azar, so ultimately not a good day for him at all championship wise. But Melanie once again continues what has been a really strong showing in this championship so far. And well, he joined 6 races late, joined at round 7, but what can he do? Because he's had now 3 wins in his first 4 races in this league. Sam, as I said, coming home P2, started P4 on the grid. Sam usually goes up from where he started. He's always a pretty safe bet for positions gained, and so another very solid job from him. Mighty Midget, admirable drive from him. We saw some great racecraft, particularly through Village and the Loop. Just had that one nailed, and was confident enough to put some moves on some drivers through there throughout the race. So really exciting stuff, to be fair. Sometimes wet races can be a little bit of a damp squib, if you pardon the pun, but this one most certainly wasn't. Azar, despite his dramas today, finishes up with 118.5 points. Casey Legend is now actually second in the championship, a slender 15 points behind, so he's brought that margin down. Luke is obviously retired now, but sitting on 101 points, 17.5 behind, but he won't go up from that total. Sinan sitting on 98 points as well. Melanie 95, so Melanie after 4 races, 95 points. He is 23.5 points off of the championship lead, so a stunning effort from him. He really could become a factor, and Azar will no doubt be now looking at the McLaren. He probably wasn't when Melanie joined, to be fair, given how late he entered the fray, but the Ferrari will certainly be watching McLaren now very closely indeed. Noor sitting on 86 points, and Sam with a big boost today of 18 on 79. So a fascinating race, that one. Just to give you a rundown of the actual finishing order as well. I didn't have a chance to do that at the time with all that was going on, the hectic nature of that race. We actually saw that it was Sinan coming in P4. He just didn't quite have the pace to stick with the podium runners today, and unfortunately that played to his disadvantage as far as that battle went. Casey with a great recovery backwards at turn 1 to P5. Can't really argue with that. Noor in P6, Vapid P7, Kev P8. Solid points for Kev in that one. Drastic Devil in 9th, and Drastic Midget rounding out the point scoring positions in P10. And yeah, so like I said, interesting race, that one. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below as to who are your driver of the day, etc, etc. I've been K Gibbs F1. This has been the British Grand Prix, and until next time, when we'll be in what will be Hungary. There you go, almost forgot my calendar then. We shall see you very soon indeed. Goodbye.